Hi everybody, my name is Jennifer Afram. I'm one of the disability advisors. So welcome to the Disability and Dyslexia Support presentation. So I just wanted to start by saying that we're inclusive by design. So I'm going to talk about the support we can offer whilst you study with us at South Bank. And we're inclusive by design. What that means is that we hope to try and make sure that your learning experience is as inclusive as possible. So we look at course design, we look at access to the building and resources and the facilities, and hopefully what it means is that the support we put in place means that your experience at London South Bank is kind of seamless. And if there are any barriers to your learning, barriers to accessing support, you can come and talk to us. We can explore how we provide ways and support to remove those barriers and mitigate against anything that is affecting you accessing your course successfully. So inclusivity is a big thing for us, and so we encourage you to come and speak to us. So who are we? So as I've mentioned, I'm one of the disability advisors. I'm Jennifer Afram. We're a team. I've got my manager, Jonathan Thompson. You see his picture there. John Muya, Jennifer Richards, and Josh Ward. So to make it easier for students, we're all linked to different schools, but obviously we see all students. So I'm linked to the School of Applied Sciences, Engineering, and the Built Environment. John Muya is linked to the School of Law and Social Sciences and Arts and Creative Industries. Jennifer Richards and Jonathan Thompson will be linked to the School of Health and Social Care, and Josh Ward is linked to the School of Business. But as I said, we see all students, so we're on duty and you may be booked in to see any one of us, but to make it easier, we are linked to schools, and so you may see or be referred to the disability advisor that is linked to your school for support. Okay, so the details of how to contact us. At the moment we're working remotely, so you can email us at disability@lsbu.ac.uk, and so when you email the inbox, one of us should be able to get back to you about your query. And there's also a lot of information on my LSBU, so please visit the DDS page to find out more about the services that we offer. So what can we do for you? So we meet with students. I've already talked about the barriers that can affect studies and affect your access to your course. So what we do is we meet with students to kind of talk about what those barriers are and look at what support we can actually put in place. So once we meet and you provide some medical evidence or a report, so some students may have a specific learning difference, which we're going to talk about. So if you've got a full diagnostic assessment or medical evidence of a disability, long-term medical condition, or specific learning difference or mental health condition, we can talk to you about putting in place some support arrangements which will include reasonable adjustments, and we share those adjustments with the course team. I mentioned about specific learning differences, so that's specifically dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia. And so if you feel that you may have difficulties that fall under the umbrella of a specific learning difference, then we offer a screening. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you access that screening and what the process is and what will happen after you've done that screening assessment. So we work with other teams within the university. We'll signpost you to relevant support services. So we work quite closely with our mental health and wellbeing team. But basically, if you need support that kind of doesn't fall under our remit, we will signpost you or refer you to other teams in the university. We're going to talk about disabled students allowance and that funding, and we offer support through with applying for that funding and accessing that support. And of course, we're providing you with ongoing assistance and support throughout your studies. We also provide training to academic staff for students with disabilities, so that actually when you're meeting with us and we're talking to you about support, actually staff are also aware of what we do, and so there should be quite a smooth experience for you when you're meeting with us and then actually speaking with academic members of staff. So screenings, specific learning differences. So if you think you may have a specific learning difference, if you think that your difficulties may fall under that umbrella, so we're finding it difficult to retain information. You find that maybe when you're reading, you skip lines. You find that it takes you a lot of time to digest information. It takes you a long time to start assignments. Or even if you're not sure whether the difficulties actually fall under a specific learning difference, I want to encourage you to do a screening assessment. So screening is called Quick Scan. It's online. It takes you about 15 to 20 minutes to do. And so you can access that at home. So the screening assessment takes you through a series of questions. And what's good about it is that at the end of that screening assessment, it provides you with some information. You get a bit of a report, tells you where your strengths are, what your difficulties are, and whether or not you need to seek further advice about a further assessment. Okay, so if the report that you get following the screening shows that you have few, some, many, or most of the indicators of dyslexia or dyspraxia, we can talk to you about what your next steps are. And usually the next step is then to have further assessment with an educational psychologist. And once you've had that assessment with an educational psychologist, and if a diagnosis is actually made of dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, then we can put support in place, and that support will be based on some of the recommendations made by the psychologists in your report. So it's quite a process. So first do the quick scan screening, and get in touch with us with the results of that screening, and then we can talk to you about what support we can put in place next. Support arrangements. So we've talked a bit about support for specific learning differences. Now, if you have medical evidence, or you've got a report already, you have some evidence that you can share with us, then we will use that to draft what is called your support arrangements. Now, we don't share any medical evidence with your course team or other members of staff. It's actually the arrangements, it's the reasonable adjustments that staff need to know and need to be aware of. So your support arrangements might include things like access to extra time for assignments, access to extra time for exams. You may need to access software for exams or particular equipment, changes or particular access to the physical environment at the university. You may have some one-to-one support, so some students have note-taking or communication support, like a British Sign Language communicator, for example. So all of those arrangements will be compiled in this report, and it's shared with the relevant members of staff and teams at the university. We need your consent before we can share those arrangements with the school. So some of you who've already been in contact with us and you haven't yet shared consent or given consent with us, I really want to encourage you to do that, because without your consent, we can't actually share any information with the course team or any other relevant members of staff. And it actually means that you're not fully registered with disability and dyslexia support. So come and find out about whether your support arrangements are in place. If you're not sure, email us. If you haven't sent back your consent form, do send that back to us as soon as possible. Disabled Students Allowance. As I mentioned before, Disabled Students Allowance is funding that students can access, and it pays for additional support. So that funding or that support kind of complements the support arrangements that we put in place. And the support arrangements really kind of covers the in-house support. So it's the arrangements that we put in place in-house, on campus, and it's to do with your studies. The DSA support complements that. It's not managed by the DDS team, it's actually managed by the funding body. So for most students, the funding body would be Student Finance England, or depending on where you originally come from around the country, your funding body might be, for example, the Welsh funding body or the Scottish funding body. But most of the students have funding through Student Finance England, or the NHS bursaries if your course is funding through that body. So you'll apply through your funding body, and the money comes from them, and then the money is then used to pay for your support. So it's used to pay for things like equipment or software that you might need, and any one-to-one support. So where I mentioned before, communication support, for example, or note-taking for particular students, as well as communication support, or study skill support and mentoring, which I haven't mentioned before. So all of that will be funded through Disabled Students Allowance. It's not means tested, so once you apply, there's a bit of a process. It means that you're not going to be paying back that money. Like I said, it's used to fund the support that you've been assessed for and that you're going to receive. So we can help you to go through the application process. It can take a while to put in place, so I really want to encourage you to apply as soon as possible. It can take, I think on the website it does talk about up to 14 weeks to get support in place. So apply early and go through that application process. If at any point you haven't heard back from the DSA team, or you're concerned that you haven't been assessed properly and you'd like some advice, please come and contact one of the disability advisors, and we can go through your query and try and support you and help you. So how do you apply? So you're going to apply through, the easiest way to apply is through your funding body. So if you have an online account, so like your Student Finance England online account or your NHS BOSS account, you can quite easily do the application online, and then send your medical evidence or report to the funding body. Okay, so it's quite easy to do. It's quite a slim application, a short application that you'll fill out online, and then send your medical evidence or your report to the funding body. Now, if you're not receiving funding through any of the bodies that I have talked about, or if you are self-funding your course, or you are a part-time student or a postgraduate student, you then need to fill out a different form. So if you're applying for Student Finance England, for example, you need to fill out a full application form. It's called the DSA full form. So it's a bit longer, and you need to provide a bit more information. So if you're part-time or postgraduate, then you need to fill out the full form. So the information is available online. You can Google applying for DSA, and the information is there. But of course, we can help you through the process as well. So at the moment we're going through quite difficult times, so we've got this new work that we're doing, and it's particularly looking at students who fall into the higher risk health categories, and that means that actually they're more vulnerable. And so if you have a health need or health condition that falls into the higher or moderate risk category, we are drafting what's called these COVID support plans, and we can share this with the relevant members of staff at the university. So it's really important that if you feel that you're because of your health condition, there may be an issue with you coming onto campus or attending lectures on campus, or traveling to the university, or if you feel that your experience at university will be affected significantly because you fall into one of these higher risk category groups, then please, I'd like to invite you to complete a short survey. I think you will get access to this presentation, so the hyperlink should work. If not, you can email the disability team directly and we'll send you the link to the survey. It's really important you get that survey completed, and what it will mean is that one of us will contact you to talk to you about what your concerns are, and then kind of liaise with the relevant teams within the university to look at how we're going to support you through this qualification and accessing your course successfully. Okay. So how you can contact us. So at the moment, we are working remotely, so we're not on campus, but we still are able to offer appointments. So some of you will have already been in contact with us. So we can offer appointments by telephone, we could do email appointments, or we're using Microsoft Teams. So we can do a voice call through Microsoft Teams or a live chat quite easily. So I would encourage you to get into contact with us. You can email us at disability@lsbu.ac.uk to book an appointment, to share your medical evidence, to just make some inquiries about support, and one of the advisors will get back to you, or somebody from the student advice team will get back to you. Okay, so for more information, as I've mentioned before, you can visit my LSBU and visit the DDS page to get information about the support that we offer. Okay, so I want to wish you all the very best with your studies, and encourage you to come and meet with us to talk about support, or to find out about what support is available through DDS at London South Bank University. Thank you.